All right. Good evening. I'm Tom Fischer, and this is Bourbon Blog Live. I'm about to bring on some very special guests that we have tonight. You see, I have some great spirits behind me. I have a great cigar in hand. First, we want to bring on Matty Rock. Matty Rock, ambassador for Drew Estate Cigars. And Matty, I understand we have a very special guest joining us tonight.
We do. No other than wrestler, actor, and my good brother, AA, the reinforcer, Andrew Anderson.
And here he is. What's happening, Drew?
What's going on, Tom?
How's it going? Great to have you on Bourbon Blog Live. How are you guys feeling tonight?
I'm good. I don't know if I'm going to be able to light my cigar with this wind, though.
Look now, at that, the tough guy scared of a little bit of wind. The guy who throws people around for a living scared of some wind.
Can't you hold
my Drew Estates Tobacco Special?
I love those.
Very good.
I love those. Now, can't you hold the wind back with all that strength, Drew, or what's the story?
I'm trying to. I'm using the powers of the Thunder God right now.
Come on, man. Don't disappoint me. Hold back the wind, bro.
I am holding it back. I had Popeyes before.
I don't need to have any more stories adding this to a bad one. Hold back the wind. I believe in
you. Didn't get the joke just there, but Tom did.
The reinforcer has the power, and Matty Rock, we always enjoy Matty Rock back, and we're all smoking some Drew Estate cigars. The reinforcer has the Tobacco Especial. Matty, what do you and I have?
We got some Norteños going. Drew, take the foot off of that. You're not going to have enough time to burn it before you take the foot off.
Yeah, I didn't even realize it was on there for a second.
Don't do it, or you're gonna have a smoky taste that you don't want.
Yeah.
We are live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And if you're watching us, definitely like this, share this. We made it shareable on all links, and we're gonna have some great times. Tell us down below what you're smoking, what you're drinking. I have a Sazerac that I made with some blend of Peerless. Rye, and I also put some brandy, the old school style, like they would use the French brandy, but I'm using some brandy from our friends in Copper and Kings. They're in Louisville, so two great Louisville products in this Sazerac. And I understand, Drew, you're a big fan of bourbon and whiskey. What are you trying there?
What I have right now, Maker's Mark.
You have mint julep. I love that stuff. That's amazing stuff. The mint julep pre-bottled. It's so good. It's, Derby has been rescheduled till September, so we can just drink mint juleps all the way up until September, Drew.
Oh yeah, you know what I love? I love the taste of this the tobacco. It's got that. It's infused, right, Matty?
Yep, you got your coffee in there, so you got Connecticut shade wrapper infused in Nicaraguan coffee.
Very nice. So the tobacco and the coffee go nicely with that mint julep, I bet.
I also brought a recently used golden spike as in my teeth, which I spiked my last opponent across his forehead right a few times in the ring. I brought the golden spike just for you got to bring a prop every now and again. So, but this is the real deal. This thing is like dagger sharp,
I said he was fun. I didn't say he wasn't an animal.
Now tell us about the history of that spike.
The history of the golden spike. Well, there was a time in the National Wrestling Alliance for Florida Championship Wrestling when Kevin Sullivan was wrestling as the Prince of Darkness, and he had a feud going on with Dusty Rhodes. Now, during the feud, he came out and he attacked Dusty Rhodes during one of the matches. The legendary Gordon Soley was calling the match. Blackjack Mulligan ran out to help Dusty, and he took the spike right in the chest. And he got spiked right in the chest. Now, obviously, we know it wasn't a real spike in the chest. And he didn't stab him in the chest. But it was pretty cool to see. And I saw that as a kid. And I became an instant fan of Kevin Sullivan. Who would think that the man would be like my dad later on in life? Between him and Greg the Hammer Valentine and most of all, Jimmy Superfly Snuka, the three of them mentored me in this business, this crazy wrestling business. So,
wow.
Yep.
That's incredible. When did you first get in the business? I know you've been in it for a while.
I've been around the business since 1989. I met Rocky Jones, aka Mike Masters, who worked for the WWE. He was long retired. Well, wasn't retired. He was semi-retired, working mostly the Indies at that time, or whatever. The Indies at that time were 1,000 times better than the Indies are now because it had all the old timers in it were out of the big leagues and they were working the indies, and it was pretty cool. So you had everybody out there at that time. So there was really no indies up until the 90s. It became known as the indies. So back then, wrestling was all, and to me, it's still all pro wrestling, whether it's a 200-seat venue or a 200,000-seat arena. You know, I mean, it's all pro wrestling to me. I met Rocky Jones, and he wrestled as Mike Masters in the WWE for a while. Thank God my central air unit just went off. It was driving me crazy. It sounded like there was a thunderstorm coming this way. So I met him, and he was bartending at a place in Secaucus, New Jersey. And we became friends, but nothing really became of it until I was working as an investment banker and in 1992. And on the weekends, I was bouncing at a club called Rock the House, and in walks two people, Metal Maniac, Jeff Miller, and he was the manager of Jimmy Superfly Snuka. And I wound up getting close with him and Snuka, and Snuka said, "Brother, I can talk to you," and he wound up training me, and it's been history since, you know. So I think since 93, I had my first pro match in 92, my first real match, but my first pro match in 93, my first really good match in 93. So I always say I had shit in my ass until at least 1999. You know, it takes at least a good 5 to 7 years for you to get your what would you call it, your wings, so to speak. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you feel really totally comfortable in there, right, Matt?
Oh, absolutely, dude. That's why I always stayed around it. I knew I couldn't take the beatings that you guys did. So yeah, 15 years of everyone used to laugh. They're like, you did Muay Thai. I'm like, I'd rather get punched in the face 4 times a year than have the shit kicked out of me for 310 any day. Because that used to be the joke. When the joke was, Matt, are you kidding? What those guys are doing isn't real. It's like, no. What they're doing is real. The outcome isn't real. These guys aren't fake falling off of ropes. These guys aren't fake beating the shit out of each other. Trust me, when you're jumping 12 feet, 15 feet, nothing fake about it. The only thing is that it's scripted. I'm like, the beating you take to your body. So that was the joke. They're like, oh, your personality would have been great. I'm like, I would have pussied out the first year. And I'm like, what do you mean I'm on the road 300 days a year? I'm like, my shoulder hurts to be like, you're a pussy. Come on, get in there. You're going. I'm like, no, I just fought. I need to heal.
My whole body hurts now.
Wow.
Yeah, he's sewed together like a friggin' human voodoo doll.
I am. I'm spitting a prayer has been holding me together. I got these petals from this tree up ahead of me landing in my hair. So if I look pretty, it's the tree that's decorating me.
I thought it was bird poop. So all right, you're good.
No, it's believe me, I'm glad it's not. I thought for a minute, I thought I got shit on. It would have been good luck, but as long as it doesn't land in my shot glass. Cheers, fellas.
Solid.
Cheers, y'all.
I'll live vicariously for you guys with your elixirs. And speaking of elixir, I'm drinking McFuddy's, which is
nice.
Pepper.
What is that?
McFuddy's.
So imagine, if you will, Dr. Pepper on meth. So it's got a very, very peppery taste to it. They even call it the pepper elixir. So it's like Dr. Pepper with lots of sweet pepper on it, real cane sugar. So while I live through the both of you vicariously with your cocktails, I'm having my pepper elixir, which to me was perfect to go with that Norteña today. What did you think so far, the Norteña, Tom?
I really like the Norteña, and so there is it's already in the cigar. There's a lot of great earth and spice, and I bet that really helps accentuate it with that pepper elixir, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly why I went with this. So you got a stick made by master blender Willie Herrera. So you have tobaccos hailing out of Jalapa and Esteli, which is already known for strong, robust tobaccos. And then you have a nice San Andreas Maduro on there. So you got a nice, spicy, full body smoke, yet actually sweet, while still remaining sweet and smooth. But you taste that with the body. I don't know if I've given you one of these to smoke, Drew. We try not to give Drew stuff that's super,
that turned me green.
Tough, or he turns the color of the wrapper, that green, and we don't like when that happens. So we keep him to milder smokes. Green.
Last Sunday again, I was mixing potato salad with Fireball, and what did I have? I had the Trinidadian, a Cuban Trinidadian from Cuba, from Havana, and that thing was so strong, man. Ooh, I'm smoking it, and everybody's looking at me saying, "You look good. You look good." I started getting all hyper. I'm feeling great. Next thing you know, I'm turning green. Then I turned blue. Then I turned green again. Then I ran to my bedroom, proceeded to pass out, and then I woke up. I felt good when I woke up, but I just looked at a cigar and I got kind of sick again because I thought of the Fireball. It made me think I can drink Fireball. So I like whiskey. I like the cinnamon. I like Jack Fire.
Oh yeah, yep.
I love Jack Fire, but for some reason Fireball makes me sick. But I don't get a hangover.
High sugar content, brother. All that sugar and that booze.
Yeah,
really,
that's
like mine when I was still drinking. Once you get drunk off of Southern Comfort, that's not really drunk. That hangover feels like somebody exploded a cotton mill in your friggin' brain. So any of that, I was like, even the smell of that right now, I'll friggin' hurl.
I drank, my record was a 16-shot night of Yukon Jack.
Ugh.
That was a 16-shot Yukon Jack. It was me, Snooka, and I want to say the Barbarian drove because he wasn't drinking at the time. 16 shots. That was horrible. Oh, that was a hangover and a half because Yukon Jack is 100 proof.
Yeah, it's serious stuff.
You can light your own piss on fire to show that, you know, when you're done with that. So your own human torch there, baby.
So you really turn some colors more than some people, Drew. Is that right? You have a colors that
I was like, oof, I turned yellow, green, blue. Fuck, man, that was
like the Skittles commercial, the colors of the rainbow.
I was. You know, some kid called me up the other day and said to me, he goes, listen, he didn't call me up. He FaceTime called me. He said to me, you know, if you look carefully at your Skittles ad, it looks like your testicles are hanging out. It's actually, they put two bald-headed men underneath me in the crowd scene, and they're peeking from behind my wide open legs while I'm holding this Skittles bag in a backbreaker, and it looks like I have two nuts hanging off right off the center.
Well, I'm sticking with the balls, brother, no matter what you tell me.
No, we've always loved the Skittles ad. How did that come about? How did that whole relationship come about?
My friend of mine, Gino Caruso, promoter out of East Coast Pro Wrestling, calls me up and says, you know, I got this company called the She At Day Agency, and they want to do a print ad for Skittles. I go down, I get fitted. At the time, they wanted my hair super long, so they added hair weaves in me because I had shorter hair at the time. So they had a sound stage set up like a ring. So it was like a 3-sided ring. So, and it was a steel sound stage, and they put a canvas down over it. And they said, okay, here's where you're going to be landing. And I'm looking at it like, what? I'm going to be landing on this. And I said, yeah, I can't do this. So they put a mat, like a crash pad over it. And they had me dive off the top of this, I guess you would call it a sort of like a stool. And it would look like I'm off the top rope. And they put a fake turnbuckle pad in it. And I would have to leap off this. And after the third or fourth time, even with the crash pad, which wasn't a real crash pad, it was more like a cheap mattress. I said, I can't do this. My knees are killing me, man. And they were like, well, we're going to do something else. I said, what do you want to do? I said, it's called Don't Suplex the Rainbow. You can't exactly suplex this Skittles bag without everything falling through. So they said, why don't you put it in a camel clutch or a Steiner recliner, whichever way you want to look at it. So that became one of the print ads, and the other one became I put it in a backbreaker. But they put the bag onto that crash pad and had me do one frog leap, frog splash. So I did a frog splash on it, and it came out on the first take. And the Japanese video for Skittles has me flying off the top turnbuckle that they CGI'd in. I hit the crash pad, and the rainbow comes out of the bursted bag on both ends. So, and I still see some little kids saying, those real Skittles in there, giant Skittles. I tell them, yeah, real big ones made by Santa Claus and his elves up there in the candy factory. You know? But what it really was styrofoam balls.
Well, that just ruined it.
Sorry.
Like a magician telling his tricks. What the hell, dude?
Yeah.
What's your favorite Skittles flavor?
Mine.
Each of you.
Actually, I like the lime one. I like
the lime.
Yeah, the lime one is good. I like the lime, and I like the cherry one too. So, cherry. It tastes like a strawberry cherry. Yeah. But you know, listen, I love all Skittles. I want to get that check this week. June. June.
Yeah. Skittles are the best.
Ching, you know.
Skittles for life.
Tom, did you see the Doritos commercial?
Oh yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Doritos was a lot of fun to make. That was that was a good time. We did most of that on the first take. It was a day's worth of shooting, but
wow.
yeah, that was a good time too. So, and right now, I want to give a shout out to my buddy Craig Massey at Massey Contracting, and a good friend of mine. He's been helping keep us all afloat during this time with that everybody's out of work. He made sure that we were taken care of, and everybody has. He's been keeping us occupied. So good guy, Craig. I love you, pal, wherever you are. And a shout out to Kevin Sullivan, the Taskmaster. I wouldn't be sane in this business if it wasn't for Kevin. So I want to just give them those two guys special shout outs.
Cheers, guys. Yes, absolutely. And
Definitely.
And what's it been like? I mean, during this time, the last couple of months, what have you been up to? What are you? Cancellation
after cancellation after cancellation. I was supposed to be in Ohio for the reunion at Round Town in Circleville, Ohio, for World Championship Big Time Wrestling. Canceled.
Right.
Supposed to have a match with Dan Severn, Dan the Beast Severn from UFC. I was supposed to have a match with him. Never happened. Dan, we will have that match if you're listening. A lot of cancellations. So straight through June, and a lot of my Julys have already been postponed. And I am, however, going to be at for the global reunion in Dallas, Texas, on July 5th in Texas. I'm wrestling for Global Championship Wrestling. People are saying, "Why are you at the global reunion?" Because you really were not even a wrestler when Global folded. And that's true. I really wasn't. They kind of folded then. But you know what? I'm friends with a lot of the stars of Global. And thank God a lot of those guys, the older guys, held up really well. And they've aged really good. And we're going to have a really good, going to have a really good reunion with those guys. And I know them all for years from other companies we work with. So to me, it is a reunion with those guys. And it's probably going to be, the way things are looking, it's probably going to be my first real match back at this stage,
Wow. Very nice. Very nice.
And
for those of you just joining us, it's Andrew, the Reinforcer Anderson, pro wrestler and actor, and Matty Rock, Drew Estate, Cigar Ambassador. I'm Tom Fischer. It's Bourbon Long Live. And it's great to have everybody joining us. And if you have any questions for Matty or Andrew or myself, ask them down below. And looking at sports, I mean, as we're trying to kind of get back to some kind of normal. Being in wrestling for now so many years, I mean, what are your thoughts as far as how as we get back into sports? I mean, we're obviously hoping the Derby is going to happen in September. What are your thoughts?
It's going to be a really slow transition. I don't think they're going to have people sitting. Well, look, for the most part, the elderly fans, they're not going to be coming back in droves, and that's where a lot of their nostalgia comes from. The elderly fans tickets and want to come see the sport. They want to bring their grandchildren to baseball, to football. They're not going to be able to do that because it's primarily, well, we already pretty much showed that this disease is this virus is non-discriminate. It's not attacking people with only pre-existing conditions. It's killing the young. It's killing children now, and it's killing people that have had pre-existing conditions. The elderly are the most susceptible. We've come to that conclusion. But I don't think that people are going to want to come back in droves. And Matt, you were down at the beach earlier today, and you said that it was they were social distancing and that people were enforcing it. And thank God, that people were respectful down there. And you just don't, the same cases are spiking. And I love it when the governors say, "Oh, case spiked after Memorial Day weekend." It was 4 days later. Cases don't spike. It's just that they're having more tests, and they're finding out quicker that people have had the disease with the antibody. It's not they're spiking automatically because they had a Labor Day, a Memorial Day party. It's that they're having more tests being taken, so they're finding out what the statistics really are. So it's just law of action. So, and we got to hope that hanging out like going to the malls and stuff like that ain't gonna happen. That's done. That's done. People are shopping online. I hate to say it, but mom and pop stores are really the ones that are suffering right now. And it's sad. I'm an avid comic collector, and to see the comic industry flush down the toilet like this, they're getting hit hard, And food stores are always going to be in business because people have to go in and shop. Restaurants always going to have curbside delivery. But what about the little mom and pop hardware stores? What about the comic book stores? What about collectible shops? What about little antique shops? You can't do curbside pickup at places like that. You know,
That's
you
true.
can't, record stores, any already a thing of the past as it was. This is effectively puts a nail in the coffin. For
When we think about these niche markets, I mean that like the like you said, I mean things that we haven't even thought about. You know, record stores, comic book stores. There's so many of these that maybe we only think about every so often that are really being affected.
Well, it kind of bothers me because that hurts my inner man child. You know what I'm saying? That's my peaceful time is collecting comics. I'm a big Marvel fan. I'm not so much DC, but and I'm big on that stuff. And Matty knows my collection is massive. To be able not be able to have that comfort zone. You know what I'm saying? So
you just reminded me I need to put Voltron together tomorrow. Just saying. 5 lions are by themselves. You know, it's time.
Here's a question from Shrill on Twitter for the Reinforcer. What are some comics that you're reading right now? Some of your favorites?
Right now, I'm loving the Avengers. The Avengers. The Avengers are awesome. You have a great team. You have the Vampire Hunter Blade in it. You have a Ghost Rider in it. You have Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man, the classics. The female Mrs. Marvel, the Black Panther, She-Hulk in it. It's a really damn good book. Now, the one thing I love about it now is that they're turning Moon Knight into a sort of an anti-hero. And Marvel's version of Batman, the Moon Knight, is the Fist of Khonshu, the Egyptian god of the moon, and it's pretty cool. So that's a really good book. The Immortal Hulk is an excellent comic. I love the Immortal Hulk. There's so many of them out there. Doctor Strange has been great. I mean, it's not your mom and dad's books that you used to read when you were kids. I mean, but thank God that in recent years the art has become less of that manga style and more comic booky, like it was like the Kirby, the Ramita, the Kirby, and the Buscema year of art style. It's more tribute to the way it used to be, you know. And I absolutely, that's my one love in life is comics and action figures, and that's especially Marvel based and Universal horror. I love that stuff, and I'm a big kid at heart, you know what I'm saying? And I believe that, you know, the old saying, I don't want to grow up, I'm a Toys R Us kid. Well, you know what? I don't want to grow up because you know what? Sometimes it's good to have that kind of stuff. You can always have something to fall back up, bring out your inner youth, keep you forever young. And Matty knows that. Matty collects. Yeah. Matty got me a pot and a bunch of other stuff, you know?
Oh, yeah, my vinyl collection. So for me, it's a lot of the street art that we'll say from the 80s, from like the Dondi kind of stuff and up. So collect a lot of things that are like Futura and D-Face and Kid Robot back in their early 2000s.
That's cool.
Really did a homage. Yeah, really did a lot of homage to those artists. So you'll have Tristan Eaton pieces. So I've limited Tristan Eaton pieces that are there, and all these got Jeremy Maddle pieces from Kid Robot and Frank Kozik, and you know, really, really cool stuff because the way these guys started. I mean, Frank Kozik, anybody who loves music knows that he was the poster guy. He did all the posters for the Deftones and for early White Zombie and stuff like that. And he goes all the way back to the 80s. So he had a lot of his classic art.
I'm good friends with Ken Kelly, who's done the Kiss art, Man of War, and a lot of album covers. So he's another good friend of mine. So me and Matty have a lot of artist friends. You know, Matty, did you tell him who I'm working with now? We're starting to work with in depth.
Oh, that's up to you, baby.
That's
for you to tell the story.
We're working on a tour of Cuba. So Pro Wrestling Tour of Cuba, which was postponed, was supposed to be April 18th, but it got postponed due to the coronavirus. A great tour of Cuba coming up, and first tour in 64 years, something like that, Matt.
Yep, and it'll be considered, and it's a Goodwill tour, so it'll be the
Goodwill
first
tour.
Goodwill. It'll be the first Goodwill tour ever perpetrated by the United States with wrestling in Cuba. So it's
that'll be the first time ever.
Yep.
Yeah, you know what? Wrestling used to be in the age of Johnny Valentine and Pampiro Firpo. Wrestling was in the 1950s, and now we're finally bringing it back in a big way. And myself and Kevin Sullivan, we with Mike Frazee and his daughter, we Susan Frazee. We really tried to put it together. I'm trying to think of what we're calling it. We're calling it a peace festival. It's a peace and solidarity festival for the Cuban people to come out and enjoy it. But It's gonna be basically directed a lot towards the tourists too at the time, and the tourists were actually sent back, and tourism is primary the goal of the primary income of the Cuban people. So they rely heavily on tourism, and the tourism attraction held off by the COVID virus. All of a sudden, now you have this wall set up. Then the problem with Cuba is this: the Cuban people, because it's a communist country or a socialist country, they don't allow the Cuban people to gather, a certain amount of people to gather in the same place at the same time, because to them it's like almost like they're afraid it's going to be a protest or another riot or something like that, or
Right.
it's just the way it is. So a lot of our attendance would have been from people coming in as tourists, people from France, from Japan, from South America, from Mexico, Canada especially, and it would have been a great time. I mean, so that was the primary reason, besides having the borders locked down. I mean, on both ends, the State Department shut down the United States from any type of commercial or educational or recreational types of travel into Cuba, as well as the Cuban Ministry of Sports and the Cuban government shut down our. I think we lost Matty. They shut down our Matty. I think Matty went on a podcast.
Matty or Dark. I don't know if something. Yeah.
There, Matty.
I'm coming.
I hope you are. So, but
we'll bring you right back when we see him.
So yeah, it's been a long time coming. It's been about 3 years in the making, and hopefully we'll be able to pull this off. I mean, we're looking at November, December now.
Wow.
For it, we got some great talent. We got the Red Dog, Rodney Mack.
Nice.
One great talent. We have Rodney Mack. We have Cajegas, the Tokyo Monster. Alex Porto, the Pug. You probably remember from the WWE.
Yeah.
Pug and he also wrestled for Global, and he's one of the bookers for and the guys running the Global event. So we're also going to have Stevie Ray from Harlem Heat Wrestling. Ambassador, the official ambassador is Road Warrior Animal, Joe Laurinaitis. And of course, the heavyweight champion, the Cuban Assassin, is now known as the Cuban Patriot in Cuba. Can't have him running around calling himself the Cuban Assassin. I mean, now he's a babyface. First time in career, he's coming in as
a yeah, not a good idea.
Wow.
Gangrel, the vampire.
Hello, Dave.
Bang Bang and Dave is going to be there. So I mean, we got everybody there. I mean, it's going to be a really, really good show. The Dirty Blondes, great tag team from Florida. Who else? I'm trying to get everybody up. Pitbull, Gary Wolf, Tim Theory, a good friend of mine from up and coming talent. I have to include him. He's a really good friend of mine. Gino Caruso, Mr. Italy himself, one of the guys who trained me. He's actually going to be up there too on the show and representing Italia. And it's going to be a really, really well done event. And we got a list of managers. I'm bringing back the managers to this one. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm bringing back a lot of managers. We got Sonny Ono bringing in Kabayashi from Japan. We have Nigel Rabbit coming in from the UK via Texas, and we have Sean Hardy and J.J. Dillon will be there. One of the greatest Hall of Famers of all time, J.J. Dillon, one of the managers of all time. Also was a wrestler in his day. A lot of people don't realize that. And it's just going to be a really good event, and I'm looking forward to it. James Beard is the senior referee. He's also a very good friend of mine. You probably remember him from New Japan Pro Wrestling and World Class Championship.
Oh.
And he's actually going to be one of the head bookers with the whole situation, and matchmakers with me in it. And we're really putting things together over here. And the setbacks have really sucked. So I hope my tag team partner Mustang Mike Beadle shows up too. So, but last time he was forbidden to come to Cuba. I think his girlfriend didn't want him to go. She thought he would have a way ticket.
Whoa, Aaron, dirty laundry, nice.
Stuck in a gulag in Cuba, going boom, bang.
You said the Festival of Peace.
Yeah. It's
Festival of Peace.
It's a sports festival, actually. It's a sports festival. And see, we ran into a problem getting in there because the United States State Department said that we are not a sport, so they wouldn't give us sports visas. So we wound up we're actually the entertainment for the United States Olympic cycling team that's coming into Cuba for a cycling race. So that's how we wound up getting through the red tape.
Yeah, Drew's
So
line. He actually became a female springboardist. Congratulations, bro. So he got the sports visa. I mean, you'd be surprised. Didn't think he could move like a cat like that.
I still can move like a cat when I want to. You know, you dangle a few $1,000s in front of me, you see how quick I run. You know, so
couldn't believe it on the high horse, man. I was impressed.
And Matty says to me one time, I was at the show. There was a great crowd, really big crowd, but Matty's looking at me and goes, "Man, you look kind of tired in the ring." And I was tired, but the promoter wasn't paying me that much. Then Matty saw me at a show that had like 200 people at it, and he goes, "You're moving like a maniac." I said, "I got a good payoff on this one." You know, it was one of those things where you're, you know, you count.
Yeah, you add a couple of zeros, he moves a few miles an hour faster. It's weird.
It can go even faster, I bet. Yeah.
But no, it was actually, honestly, I'm only ripping about that, but I actually, whether it's 2 people in the crowd or 2,000, you know, I try to give them their money's worth, you know what I'm saying? Because they're paying in that seat, you know what I'm saying? What are you going to do, show them? They're there to see you, you know? The fans are the most important thing. And that's why I'm hoping that we have a really good.
I was to say, when the United States Department told you, hey, it's not a sport, I mean, how does that make you feel when they don't really recognize this as a sport?
Well, to me, it's a sport. It's always going to be a sport. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'd like to take the guy who said that and say, you know, you get in the ring and see if you could do what I do. But, you know, they look at it because the deregulation of pro wrestling with Vince McMahon and, you know, it's become sports entertainment. I can't do anything to change that. But, you know, I'm not a sports entertainer. I'm a wrestler. I'm a pro wrestler, man. You ask me what I do, I wrestle. So, you know, that's the way it is. It's just, I'm a wrestler. So if you guys, Jimmy Snuka or anyone else, that you'd say, what does it feel like? I remember some kid came up and said to Jimmy one time, he said, hey man, he said, what does it feel like? He said, you used to wrestle Madison Square Garden. Now you're at so-and-so's high school gym. And he said to me, he looked at the kid and he goes, brother, it's wrestling. It's work. He said that to him. No, it is. It's work. You give him whatever you give him. And that's the way, you know, your work ethic is what it's all about, you know?
Yes, absolutely. No, I feel you. No, so this again will be, maybe we'll look for it in November, December, the Peace Festival, all different kinds of sports, and hopefully that will happen in November, December.
Yeah, and we're hoping to attract some of the Olympic boxers that are in Cuba, and you know, we want to see some boxing when we're there. You know what I'm saying? Catch that. Yeah. There's some amazing talent. Baseball and boxing are Cuban national sports. You know? I mean, they have some of the greatest ball players came out of Cuba, you know, I mean, phenomenal athletes. So, and I just, I think it would be a shame if we didn't bring back some cigars for Matty too, you know?
Oh yeah. I was going to say, what Matty's really got to look forward to that, smelling some good cigars there, I bet.
Oh, my sponsor, one of my sponsors over there, and one of my guys actually involved in making the tour brought me back some Cohibas, a box of Cohibas, and he brought me back a box of Trinidadians. So, and we brought them back, and you know, you're allowed to bring a certain amount back, and like we're all Natos over here. So, you know, I mean, Matty, I gave you some of those Trinidadians, right?
Yeah, I smoked a few of the Trinidadads, and I did not get sick and turn green. They were delicious.
Yeah, I did. So I get the kid gloves over here with the tabacs. So I get the infused one. So
he turned a few colors. No, we're getting some great questions. And again, if you have any questions at all for Andrew, the Reinforcer Anderson, please ask them below. I think someone was asking, you know, what would you do if you, let's see here. Here it is. You know, we're trying to actually wrestle the coronavirus in a wrestling match. What move would you put on the coronavirus just to kill this thing?
I would put on the Matty Rock. I would freaking just turn around and fart right on it. Matty Rock special.
It's always been my best defense, bro. I mean, come on. Offense and defense rolled up into one. Come on. It's the move, bro. I'm telling you.
That's it, man. The point of it, listen, I got to say this about the coronavirus. We can all say we want to kick the coronavirus's ass. The point is that I'd say right now, follow the social distancing rules. It's the only way you're going to get rid of it. Make it go away on its own. The fewer people that have it, the fewer places it's got to travel to. And that way we don't have to worry about it till maybe effectively it will go away. You don't, I can't see this not coming back in flu season in the early winter late fall, early winter. I'm just afraid it's going to happen all over again. It's sad, but it left a lot of us jaded. You know what I'm saying? And worried. It scares you. It really is scary.
Right.
You're a 40-year-old guy who's been running 5 miles a day, no pre-existing conditions. He's sitting on a ventilator fighting for his life, and then a couple of days later he passes away. And you know, you got a 90-something-year-old guy in a nursing home that survives it. So it's an unpredictable virus. It's your own physiology, your own personal genetics. I mean, I guess. So, like I heard, it affects certain blood types as opposed to others. You know, and then there's always people. Then you hear other things saying if you took a lot of ibuprofen, it left you susceptible to it. So somehow, now I don't know if it's true or not, but you know, so I got rid of all the ibuprofen in my house. I don't even want to take it anymore. So I don't want to trigger anything. So I'm living pretty much in a lot of pain. So the only thing I'm taking is aspirin and Tylenols for my aches and pains. You know,
Right.
So, but you want to do all you can. You know, plus when I have a 15-year-old daughter, and and I have a 24-year-old daughter, and I have my 24-year-old in a few weeks. And my 14-year-old, you know, I try to keep her. She doesn't even leave the freaking bed. Well, she's that age anyway. Always on her laptop anyway. So, you know, but it's hard. It's hard on her because she's graduating 8th grade, and she's not going to have a proper 8th grade graduation. Some of my best memories were from my 8th grade graduation. You know, it's
Still can't believe you're not in prison from it. Congratulations.
Yeah. But
these high schoolers, these college students, 8th graders. I mean, I really feel for them for not, you know, it's maybe not even seeing each other again because of college or whatever it might be, and a lot of colleges not even knowing if they're going to start back or if they're just going to be doing it online. I mean, there's all these questions in there still.
Colleges are not opening till January. I heard a lot of them.
So I think that's true on some of them. Yes.
Yeah, on the East Coast, I heard a lot of them. I heard I even heard Dartmouth and a bunch of other ones. They're not opening till January, I heard. So it's trade schools and a lot of high schools are talking about now. Now they're gonna have homeschooling. You know, that ruins a good portion of the kids' lives. I hate to say it. That's their formative years, and that's the most important part of your life. So I remember being in high school. I went to Paramus Catholic High in Paramus, New Jersey, and I remember being in the final year of my freshman year, and I remember one of the teachers saying to me, "This is going to be the greatest time of your life, and you don't know it." And I think back on those words, and you know what? I think back those 4 years. They were some of the best times of my life. You know, and I made some friends that I just seen one today. Actually, a friend of mine. A friend of mine I haven't seen in years. Jim Comiskey. I seen him walking in Ridgewood. I was at one of the lights by Sushi X over there, and he was.
You were in my joint there, fella.
I was in your joint. I was in your neck of the woods today.
You were a Poke Zone, baby.
That's right. That's good food. Poke Zone in Ridgewood. So
my peeps.
You're in New Jersey. Hit Poke Zone in Ridgewood.
Do it.
So many great people watching. Hey, our buddy Peter is on. Matty, Peter, and Chairman Lai there. Dr. Robert Green. Thanks everyone who's watching. It's just great people watching us and having some great. Tell us down below what you're drinking. Whiskey, cigars. Matty's having the
drinking and smoking something. Pete, what are you drinking and smoking, dude?
I bet Pete's having something good.
Maker's Mark Mint Julep.
Maker's Mark Mint Julep for the reinforcer. I'm having some. I'm having a Sazerac, which is complementing the Norteño.
Where's Zach? As soon as I hear Sazerac, I'm looking for Zach. Zach, you in there?
Zach might be there. Sazerac. I got my Sazerac on. So so you know, when you look at what's happening in the world, and I appreciate both of your perspectives. What do you see your wrestlers, your fellow wrestlers, doing to encourage everyone during the pandemic? What have you been most proud of, Andrew?
I'm really proud of the company I just started working for out of Point, Texas, SWE Fury. It's just a hell of a company run by a promoter, Tom Lance, James Beard, and James Beard, the senior referee, former NWA official. He's one of the directors of operations for SWE Fury. Tom Lance is the owner, and it's just a great company. You have Brent McKenzie, Super Tex. You have Tim Storm as the heavyweight champion, also former NWA World Heavyweight Champion. You have, like I said, you have Nigel Rabbit, a great manager. You have a lot of great cast and crew. Dirty Andy Dalton. You have Barrett Brown, a whole bunch of people working for you. You have Rodney Mack. Jazz is the women's heavyweight champion. I mean, they have a great lineup. They have a great TV show going, and it's really a pleasure to be doing old school style of wrestling with a touch of the new in it. I mean, it really brings me back to the old world class days that I used to watch on TV. World Class Championship Wrestling with the Von Erichs and everyone. And
wrestling was wrestling, brother.
Yes.
This is good old fashioned old school wrestling storylines where things mean something, where everything is done with a purpose, and it tells a story, and it just it's really, and the talent and the roster and the camaraderie and everything, right down to the craftsmanship of the camera angles and everything in the building that we're wrestling in, the venue. It's just a really good deal, and I like working for this company, and I hope to be working for them and seeing them in business for a long time to come. They have my.
Drew, give everybody your Instagram account, Drew, and your
tell us
your Twitter so they can follow you, dog.
Twitter is Instagram is Reinforcer Andrew Anderson. Reinforcer Anderson, right? I don't even remember.
I don't know. I don't even know who I am. That's why I wear a name.
I just tell you on Instagram earlier. Let me look.
Wrestler at Drew the Wrestler is my Twitter. At Drew the Wrestler. And the Andrew the Reinforcer is my my Instagram page. So, and anything on Facebook, look up my Facebook fan page, Reinforcer Andrew Anderson, and then I have another one, Andrew Anderson, and I think I have like 3-4 fan pages. So just look for Reinforcer Andrew Anderson. I'm either holding up a Skittles bag or I'm sticking my tongue out.
And when you find the porn one, go to that one as well too.
Yes,
everyone's got to make their money, man.
There it is. That's on the Instagram and Reinforcer. And look for him on Twitter, all the social media, and definitely follow all the great stuff he's doing. And you may also know Drew from some of his acting work. You've done Gotham. You've done a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, I was in The Wrestler. That I owe. I got to say, Mickey Rourke and Darren Aronofsky and Evan Ginsberg was one of the producers of the movie. It was really great, and a lot of kudos to those guys. And they really put me on the map as far as getting me out of mothballs. I was ready to quit wrestling at that time, and I had a torn ACL, and I was just on a down spiral. I was already like a little over 10 years in the business, and I didn't want to do it anymore. And that movie, all of a sudden breathed new life into my career. I got my knee surgery, came back stronger, better, and all of a sudden Skittles, Doritos, pharmaceutical commercials, print ads, everything. I became a model, and would be a model, And,
ooh, Zoolander, very nice.
Very nice. So
was that the Magnum?
So yeah, a lot of shit. I threw a lot of shit at a fan, and it hit the wall, and some of it stuck. Hey, that's the way I look at it. And I'm having a good time being me. And now at this game, I can pick and choose who I'm going to work for. And like I said, thank God for Warner Brothers and all the royalties that come in from Sneaky Pete and Gotham and all that stuff. Because if it wasn't for that, I right now with not wrestling, it was really tough. So but royalties come in on every quarter. They don't come in on a steady basis. So it was kind of tough, and but I have some. Thank God I have savings, and I have a lot of good friends who have really kept me working, kept me above water. You know what I'm saying? And they know who they are, and I appreciate them for keep me afloat, man. And because it's a tough act. You know what I'm saying? When you're in a business that requires attendance, and all of a sudden you can't have attendance due to social distancing and quarantining, that it's tough. We got to remember, when I worked for a bigger company, it was okay because they have the sponsorships. Not everybody has sponsorships like WWE, AEW, or MLW, where they can have, empty arena matches, Ring of Honor or whatever, have empty arena shows. We don't have that kind of sponsorship. The small companies that book us. And the other thing too is film studios. The Screen Actors Guild won't let you work under those kind of conditions. You can't have a big film being filmed. You can't have a big production. You can't have a trailer with makeup people in there putting all your makeup on when it's all cramped, and a whole big production crew and gaffers and cameramen and you just can't do it now, and it's everything's been halted, and all the movie that I'm working on, Blade and Blood, that's going to be shot in Texas, J.D. Glasscock film. It's all on hold. The TV series that I've been working on, the pilot that I was working on, everything is on hold, and it's kind of, it was very what would the word be? Undermining, yes. Depressing. It's been very depressing when you're what you do. You work. So I work in the arts in a way.
Right.
Like I said, I my work requires attendance, and if I don't have that, I don't have work. So.
And I think they're, looking at restaurants, many places in our area are reopening all over the country, but there still are all these, whether it's sports, arts, music, entertainment, that a lot of people are not, we are remembering, but we're kind of forgetting that these things are still on hold.
Everything is on hold, and it's sad that the restaurant business, I mean, they're making money with takeout, but there's only so much you can make on takeout. You're losing a large chunk of your income, of your, it's hard for people to deal with. I mean, the economy, I'd hate to think that this was done. Like, I heard all these conspiracy theories, and I definitely think, and this is my opinion and not the opinion of Matty Rock or Tom Fischer, I definitely think Bill Gates and the World Health Organization are definitely behind this somehow, because I know they know what was going on, and they're going to market that vaccine and come to the rescue like on a white horse. And in the meantime, that white horse is really the horse of death for the. It's just too convenient and too coincidental that all this happened. So I'd hate to think that this was a pandemic that went out of proportion because they want to get a Republican president out of office who just has no filter. You know what I'm saying? He's, it would be scary to think that country has come to that.
But you think it's possible?
But it is possible. It's very plausible. A lot of that stuff makes sense. For a lot of friends of mine have said, you're out of your mind. You're thinking like you've been in quarantine too long. But you know what? The more you read stuff, the more you read your Bible and you read this and that, and everything, it makes sense. And you're like, wow, I mean, what happens first? First comes pestilence, then famine. All of a sudden you had a meat shortage. All of a sudden you have crops being burned and raised to the ground because, they had too much of it. They didn't know what to do with it, spilling milk into freaking vats and burying meat, fresh meat, stuff like that. They're killing them and burying them in the Midwest. And it's like, because the meat packing plants are now unable to meet up with the amount of meat that they're supposed to process. So you have this. So now famine, famine comes to mind. What comes next? You know what I'm saying? War. And all of a sudden, we're on the brink with China right now. That you have in the South China Sea, you have that now they're going into the South China Sea where we have a battleship that is now with the one aircraft carriers was held up with repairs. I think now it's back in action. Had the coronavirus. It just scares you. You know what I'm saying? What happens after that? So it gets your mind thinking. When you're in quarantine, you get to think a lot. And you put shit together that may or may not be there. So I'm not, but I'm not saying it's happening, but it could be possible. So
and if there was somebody or some movement behind it, I mean, it may be a while before we would ever know. Or it might not be.
Oh yeah. We'll never know. What the hell's going on. I mean, and then you have the stuff going on in Minneapolis, which is just horrible. Which I totally condemn that cop. I don't blame police officers in general. I think police officers in general are good, honest, hardworking people. But you have a bad, you have a bad seed and all that. And this guy obviously was just out of his freaking mind. And but that doesn't give you the right to go in and steal property. You know what I'm saying? Act like animals and start tearing things up. I mean, there are ways to protest and ways not to. And, I mean, just because one idiot cop and his subordinates decided to do what they did. And I couldn't even watch the video. It was horrible. That poor man was begging for his fucking life. I mean, how do you do that? I mean, it's horrible. And my dearest prayers and condolences to his family and to his friends and to, I mean, I think it just, it's horrible. So, but you can't blame an entire police force for the actions of one person. You know, it's just like, you know, you can't, you know, how many people have been killed, you know, how many white people have been killed by black people, and we don't go rioting on it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's got to be a way about it. I mean, there's a peaceful way about it. I mean, I just don't, you know, I just think, but I think that something has to be done. There's got to be some kind of restrictions put on how much force they can use. I mean, what they can do. I mean, that's horrible. That was fucking horrible. That cop, I hate to say it, I think he should get what he did to him. You know, and I think if he goes to prison, it'll happen to him. So, and I don't think he should be put
much is happening in the world, you know, and so much stress, and you know, and we only hope that it's conversations like this, it's events, you know, ways we can meet virtually and encourage people in a positive way. You know, we hope that those are something that people can appreciate and you know, have a productive conversation on how we move forward from this stressful time. And how do we move forward?
I mean, want to be cheered up, guys.
We want to be cheered up. What do you guys think? How do we move forward? How do we get past this time?
Hey, Andrew, you're never telling me a bedtime story. Never, ever, ever. No bedtime stories. Remember, the reinforcer does not tell bedtime stories. That's like having Stephen King. Hey, you want me to tell you a story to go to sleep? No.
He could come in and reinforce the story. Hey, you know, that's a good. How did you get the name reinforcer? I mean, I think I kind of know what it means, but how did you get that name?
Arn Anderson was the enforcer in NWA World Championship Wrestling and the Wrestling Federation for a number of years. Arn and Tully Blanchard, and Arn was the enforcer. And I'm wrestling at a show. I used to wrestle as the Siberian Tiger early in my career, and I would team with Nikolai Volkov, and I would do the Russian Cold War gimmick, you know, back then. And then all of a sudden, one day, Crowbar Chris Ford comes up to me and says, you know, I'm now wrestling as Andrew Anderson. Everybody's calling me Double A, but Chris Ford says to me, he says, hey, Arn was the enforcer. Why don't you be the reinforcer? So and from then on, I was the reinforcer.
The reinforcer.
Yep. And that's how I became the reinforcer. Thank you, Chris.
Yes. Have you always been a cigar whiskey fan? Has this
no? Turned me on to cigars. Matty turned me on to cigars. Matty almost. Then one time, I remember we were smoking cigars outside of a diner about a year ago, and I started turning green again. Remember that, Matty?
So I told you.
I broke out into it.
I think I can smoke the Strongboards now. I'm like, okay. You know what? Nope. No. If you want to blame somebody, Sanj, are you on here? Sanj tried to kill you, not me.
Sanj's smoke shop, he tried to kill me. Sanj gave me some really, really. Oh, don't worry about it. You're fine. And I turn around, I'm smoking, and then all of a sudden, me and the Tokyo Monster Haggis. So we're both, me and the monster, me and Tokyo are just sitting in the back of a car, freaking turning colors, looking at each other. I feel sick. Yeah, I feel sick. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is, you know.
What cigar did you give him, Matty?
It was Sanj. I think he gave him a feral pig and tried to kill him.
Oh. Wow. Yeah. I remember Sam Houston there with it too, remember? Sam was fine.
No, Sam was still smiling. He had no idea. He was just fine.
Cannonball in his face and he'd be fucking smiling.
Yeah. Sam's always smiling.
And then you found cigars you liked from the collection, right?
Well, Matty speaking them for me, giving me, you know, baby steps, you know?
Yeah.
But
Matty's good at guiding people through the cigar experience. And by the way, I love the Norteña. That was great with the Sazerac and the rye whiskey. I just lit up Liga Bravada #9 just now, Matty. So I'm having a little of that.
All right, so we got a little Liga family. So you got that nice, beautiful Maduro wrapper, almost an Oscuro in nature. So almost pitch black. So again, you're going to get a lot of that, and you go medium, full. You get that that natural sweetness, nice full body. You have that sweet aroma and that creaminess. So it's, you know, two entirely different cigars from what you just smoked, but
aroused.
Ooh.
Yes. And again, for those of you who are just joining us the last few minutes, it's the reinforcer Andrew Anderson, Matty Rock. We're having some Drew Estate cigars and some great whiskeys all around, and Matty's trying some great elixir there, soda. And we do this every night, 8 p.m. Eastern. We've been doing it for I think like 70 nights in a row with great guests like the reinforcer and Matty Rock, and people from the whiskey business. Watch us every night on this link. I think we may have a couple new questions, and it's just great to have you guys and just to be having a great conversation. Dennis, thanks for watching from New York. It's our buddy Dennis in New York saying what's up.
Hey,
Thanks for watching
What's up, Dennis?
on YouTube. Yes, and Chairman Lai is saying he agrees. He's we're always glad to have Chairman watching, and of course Pete watching. So great people. Definitely share this, like this, tell all your friends. It's a cigar and whiskey party. You guys are both in New Jersey, right?
Yeah. Does anybody have any last questions?
Yeah. Any other questions? There might have been some other. I think somebody was asking you, Drew. In addition to the somebody said above, in addition to the Maker's Mark, what other whiskeys do you enjoy besides the
my favorite thing of all is Jack Daniels. I love Jack Daniels. Jack Daniels is I'm a big Jack and Coke drinker. Jack and Diet actually. I love Jack Daniels. I love Jameson. I love Jack Fire. God, what can I could go on. I mean, I like gin.
You're a Mad Dog 2020 connoisseur, I've been told.
No, none of that. I actually like this wine I found on the shelves in my liquor store called Good Fucking Wine, and it's a fucking great tasting wine.
Not good, huh?
It's called
That's a
Good
ringing
Fucking
endorsement.
Wine. It really is good. Hint, hint. You need a sponsor, guys? It's good fucking wine.
I need you and Samuel L. Jackson doing it. It's a good fucking wine, I think. We got to get you and Samuel L. Jackson on that. You're right. It's a good fucking wine.
through the years, Drew, whether it's the green room before the match or after the match, what kind of after the match, what kind of whiskeys, what kind of cocktails did a lot of wrestlers always enjoy post match? Did you see that?
Was the biggest Crown Royal.
Crown. Okay.
You're not telling the truth. I'm going to tell the truth. Here's the wrestling thing. Whatever the marks are buying.
Yes, true. That's true. Whatever the fans are buying. So it's usually,
I'm such an asshole.
Everybody loves Crown, but obviously most of the old timers that I know really love the Crown Royal. And I love Crown Royal. And I just remember, I remember Snuka. I remember a lot of the boys really love it. Roddy Piper, everybody used to love Crown Royal.
Oh, nice.
And it was something that everybody drank. Tony
faithful, bro.
Iron Sheik used to love it. Brutus Beefcake, all of us, we always used to drink it together, man. Crown Royal is just, and tequila. I know Hulk loved tequila a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, everybody loves tequila. Patron was the big one now Patron Silver, because we found out that Patron Silver wouldn't give us hangovers. So we'd go out after the shows, go to that town, go party in that town, have dinner, party all night long, and then go to bed with a hangover and drive to the next city the next day, do it all over again. That's how it was. You drum up business for the next show. You let the people meet the wrestlers, and that's how you do it. But bourbon is my thing. I like I said, I love Daniels.
Love the Jack. So the Jack's usually on your rider then, right?
Jack Daniels and Jameson. I like Jameson whiskey too. So I don't drink Scotch, believe it or not. I don't like Scotch. I remember. Yeah, Scotch made me sick in the, I think senior year in high school, and from then on, I couldn't really drink it after that. The smell of it just gives me the willies. So it's like one of those things that happens. So, but I'm being honest. I'm not saying that you can't drink Scotch around me. I just won't drink it. So
right. Was it usually after the matches everybody would have a little cocktail, or was there some wrestlers that liked it before the match? How did it go?
Having it before, like Michael Hayes, Freebirds. I heard Freebirds are famous for drinking before the matches, pounding it down. A lot of the boys used to drink it before. I mean, like Iron Sheik and all those guys used to have a bunch of beers before the match. Jim Neidhart used to drink before a match. I remember that. But now I think
you're gonna have some people want to come see you after this, buddy.
Yeah, I think for the most part, a lot of the boys don't really drink anymore. And
sure,
I never liked to drink before a match. I never did. I have, but I
look
really
at all
didn't.
The people we got doing cigars now instead.
Yeah, we got old people smoking cigars now, like Rikishi and Gene Snitsky and everybody. Yep. I mean, good time.
All my homies, I just sent your boy his pack last week. You're nasty boy.
Nasty boy. Jerry Sags has said you had a bunch of dried and withered sticks you sent him the last time.
Oh, we had a great one with him. So he thinks he's got jokes. He goes, these sticks are old and dry and they've had their day. I'm like, wait, are we talking cigars or your career? He's like,
he just shut his mouth
who
up
can play this game? Yes.
Matty's getting a lot of them interested in you've converted some of them to cigars, it looks like.
Oh, yeah.
You know what, man? Because if you really think about it, and AA and I have talked about it before, if you had a rough day or you're beat up, it's really something you could sit back. It's contemplative. Sit down with some of the boys. It's not going to, unless, it's a really strong cigar and you're Drew, you're not going to poop yourself or feel sick or anything. And it's a contemplative kind of thing, man. You sit down with your boys, you shoot the breeze. It's, you figure it puffing away and takes you anywhere from, depending on the stick size, 40 minutes, hour and a half, depending on what you're smoking. It's chill. It's contemplative. And you're not chugging away when you're doing it. Like, you'll have a couple of spirits and cocktails, because if you're doing a pairing, right, you're getting the subtle notes and how each drink matches up with what you're smoking. So it's not, it's not like you're just back at a bar knocking shots. So again, it's a little bit more contemplative in its nature. Right. It's a little bit more relaxing, and you really get to sit back and chill a little bit. So I think that's why for a lot of these guys, like I said, are hurting 300 days a year, 310 days a year. It's nice where you can finish up, sit back without any bullshit, and smoke a cigar for an hour.
Days a year. It's not just the wrestling, but we're hitting the gym and hitting it hard and working out and training hard, to keep ourselves. Oh, yeah. Got tendonitis and everything, and then you have just old, like in my case, just old age is kicking in. I may be old, but I'm not boring.
I still love you, Dad. It's okay.
No, you've done some awesome work, Drew, and no, it's great what you're doing too, Matty. I mean, we love doing this every night, and talking whiskey and cigars. I completely agree. I think it's really contemplative, and really, it's a real good meditation. Not only having a whiskey, but having a cigar, just to be able to see that, just to inhale, exhale, rest, relax. Hopefully, if you've been beat around as a wrestler, however life has beat you up, this is the way to do it, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely, brother.
And Tom, life's been beating up so many people.
Tom, before we conclude for the evening, let everybody know what you have planned for the future, since you're obviously kind of been shimmied by the whole virus thing as well, too, and let people know how they could reach you.
Thank you. Thanks for that, Matty. Yes, absolutely. Well, obviously, myself working in the hospitality industry, I host a lot of whiskey tasting, cigar pairings around the country, around the world. So I will be doing those again here shortly. Until then, we're doing our show here every night, 8 p.m. Eastern time on bourbonblog.com/live. And I'm actually hosting some virtual tastings online. I've done them for companies, businesses, parties. So if you like whiskey, you want to sit down and spend an hour and a half or two with me, have some whiskey for your company, get together on Zoom, drop me a line at tom@bourbonblog.com, and we can have some fun with that, just like we're having fun with Drew and Matty. And it means a lot. It means a lot that you came along for the ride, Drew. This has been so much fun.
When you're having one of the tastings, and you got to have me and Matty along with you.
Oh, I will. Next time I'm there in New York, New Jersey, count it in. Would love to have you there. We'll definitely enjoy having some whiskey and some cigars with you in person. That'd be great.
We'd do Q&A too. We'd tell some stories,
That would be fun.
Well, you got to watch some of the stories. Like I said, I don't want to be clipped when I'm walking outside. So let's Andrew, do me a favor for all those people who want that beautiful mug on either a shirt or a cup. Tell them where they get your merch there, big boy.
You can get my t-shirts at ProWrestlingTees.com. Go to Andrew Anderson, Andrew the Reinforcer at ProWrestlingTees.com. You can get your own exclusive Andrew Anderson t-shirt, any size, color. You can get a hoodie, you can get a tank top, you can get a v-neck. For women, they like the v-necks, they like the curve necks. They can get them. They can get little kid size shirts. I have 3 different brand new exclusive designs. The 4th one coming out next week, and they're selling like hotcakes at ProWrestlingTees.com. The Reinforcer, my own store. The Reinforcer, Andrew Anderson.
Yes, so sir. It's if you need a shirt on a scarecrow, there's nothing coming into that cornfield if you're wearing one of those shirts.
ProWrestlingTees.com.
Yep, I'll send you the link.
I'm gonna put it up here. Is that look right? Pro Wrestling Tees.
TEE.
TEE. Okay. Everybody, forget what I just Pro Wrestling Tees, the plural, right?
Yep.
Pro Wrestling TEES.com. That'd be cool, man. Well, hey, it's great to have you guys. What's that?
You can look for the Reinforcer Andrew Anderson on there, or you have a plethora of other wrestlers on there too. Support pro wrestlers, support pro wrestling industry. Indie guys that are not signed to a big company, give them your love and support, and it's not everybody's making a shit ton of money in these coronavirus days, and it's tough. You know what I'm saying? So we're trying to stay our heads above water. Merch has been selling really good. I got a new coffee mug line coming out, and a bunch of shot glasses. Andrew,
yeah, you owe me one. Glenn broke mine. Just saying.
Yeah, right, he did break yours. Glenn broke his. So, but I got a bunch of shot glasses. Andrew Anderson shot glasses coming out. Bandanas, face masks, and yeah, a lot of stuff coming out. An exclusive Andrew Anderson action figure. So
you're gonna have your own action figure.
Yes, I'm. Hopefully, it's gonna be the one that has my catchphrase. It's crunch time, baby. So it's gonna be.
And definitely follow Reinforcer. There's his Instagram too, right there, Andrew the Reinforcer.
Yep.
On Instagram at Andrew the Reinforcer. Man, it's so great to have you, Drew. I've always been a fan, and it's fun to have a smoke and a drink with you. And thanks for giving us some insight and then some lightning words in this time when things are a little crazy. And Matty, it's always great to see you, brother. And I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing you both soon on the East Coast, and we'll have some whiskey and some cigars and a good time when I'm back out there hosting some tastings.
Tom, thank you.
Absolutely, my brother.
Cheers, guys. You guys stay
Gentlemen,
well. Everybody watching.
Take care,
Gentlemen,
guys.
much love, guys.
Much
Be
love,
good, stay
everybody.
safe.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Cheers. Have a good night.
Peace.
Thanks, Matty. Cheers. Good to see you,
Always,
Matty.
brother. Much love, my man. I'll talk
Yes,
to you soon.